Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Mel and I hope you are having the most fantastic of days. Today is one of my most exciting videos to film and it is extra exciting today because this is my May TBR. The reason that it is extra exciting is because May is the TBR of Escape the Readathon. This is one of my favorite readathons hosted by Lexi from Books with Lexi. This year we are going to be trying to escape a haunted carnival and I could not be more excited. I'm going to be co-hosting the team Thrill Seekers with Jordan from Sorry Booked Solid and I'm just beyond thrilled. The basic concept of this readathon is that you are going to be reading books and trying to be the first team to escape the haunted carnival. This year we're going to be entering buildings, there are going to be games to play, tickets to get, and the idea is just absolutely incredible. Lexi explains it way better than I do, so I will link all the information down below, but you need to go check it out and you need to join Team Thrill Seekers because obviously we're the best team. We are seeking the thrill of getting out first, obviously. This readathon you can read any genre, any book, it does not matter. So I've got a mix of horror and fantasy on here. I'm just going to be kind of going with reading what I want this month. I do think that I'm going to try outside of my TBR Bluff TBR to focus on sequels because I have been slacking on the sequels. If you guys have never seen me play TBR Bluff before, this is a board game that I play every single month. I roll the die 1 to 3 times and try to find a corresponding prompt that fits the die. If I can't find a prompt, I have to spin the wheel of doom. Once I find a prompt, I have to cover it up, and then I cannot clear the board until I've gotten 5 in a row. We are starting to get very, very close to badness happening because I have not been able to clear the board in some time. So fingers crossed, today is the day that we are going to be clearing the board and starting fresh for June because I am a little scared of what the board has in store for me. I do have 2 book club books for this month. We will talk about those at the end if I'm not able to get them on the TBR. And other than that, I think I have 5 rolls to do. TBR Bluff, roll number 1. Okay, so that gave us 3 threes, a 6, and a 5. Is 3 threes still on the board anywhere? It is. It's a sci-fi. Are we going to go with sci-fi or are we going to throw caution to the wind? I think that there are a few too many things covered for me to throw too much caution to the wind, so before we just go with utter chaos, I'm going to be nice to myself on the first roll and go with sci-fi. Okay, so for TBR Bluff at roll number 1, we got sci-fi. And I have not hit this prompt in a while. I've been avoiding it, honestly, because I just haven't really been reading as much sci-fi recently, but I felt like this was the perfect opportunity to continue on my sequels train and read Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. This is the 4th and final book in the Skyward series following Spensa, who has always wanted to be a pilot, but her dad was branded a coward and kept her from being able to be a part of the flight school. And we've got, Earth, we've got aliens in the sky that are trying to destroy Earth. It's a lot of fun. I will say that this series kind of peaked for me at Skyward and I haven't enjoyed the rest of the series quite as much, but I am excited to be finishing the series off and marking that checkbox of completed. Okay, TBR Bluff, roll number 2. Okay, so that gave us 2 5s, a 2, a 1, and a 6. So we're definitely going to keep the 2 5s and re-roll the rest. Okay, so that gave us 3 5s. 4 5s is on the board and 2 5s is on the board. I think we're going to go with a little bit of chaos and re-roll to try to get 4, but worst case we still have 2. Oh, okay, so we're going to be going with isolated setting. So that definitely does clear the board. The problem is the board does not clear until the end of the game. So once we're done with this game, we will be able to clear it for the month of June. For our next roll, we got 3 threes, and this one gave us an isolated setting, which is perfect, you guys. Absolutely perfect. For this one, I'm going to be going with Ghost Station by S.A. Barnes. This fits the vibes to me. It is horror. There might be something a little bit haunted. They are isolated on this planet that they cannot escape from, and I'm here for it. I read Dead Silence last year, really enjoyed it, and this is the author's newest release. The cover just grips me. Like, everything about this book sounds incredible. We're following a psychologist, and she has dedicated her life to try to study and preserve ERS, which is a famous case that resulted in the brutal murders of 29 people. Now we have crewmates that are investigating this eerie ancient planet, they're unraveling a mystery, and then their pilot ends up dead. She's terrified the history is going to repeat itself and the crew must work together to figure out what's happening, but somebody is keeping secrets. It sounds so good. Again, it feels like it's a perfect book for me. TBR Bluff, roll number 3. So that gave us 2 1s, a 5, a 2, and a 4. So we're going to keep the 2 1s, I think. Yeah, we're going to keep the 2 1s, which is out of my comfort zone, but I do want to roll and see if I can get something else, because I would rather not do out of my comfort zone this month. So that gave us 3 3s. So we have 2 1s and 3 3s, which does not look like it's on the board anywhere. We have 2 3s, and we have 2 1s, but not 3. So I'm going to be extra chaotic, and we're going to reroll the 1s because that's the prompt I don't want, and see what else we can get. Oh my gosh! We managed to get 5 3s, which does not happen, but I'm not going to complain about it, which gives us a standalone. Next up, we got a standalone, and this one was kind of hard because I was so tempted to reread a book because the Dark Matter TV show is coming out in May, and I am beyond excited for it. I'm going to really try hard not to watch it, not to binge it as it's coming out, because A, I want to do a watch along with my patrons, and B, I need to be reading in May, not watching TV shows. But this was kind of inspired by the fact that Lexi loves Blake Crouch. Other than Upgrade, which we won't talk about, Lexi's a huge fan of Blake Crouch, so I figured it was only fitting to read one of her favorite authors this month. And since I've read Dark Matter, I am going to go with the only one that I'm aware of. I'm assuming he has more backlist that I'm not aware of, but the only one that I own and am aware of, which is Abandon. This one was gifted to me by Emma, so thank you so much to Emma, and this has like a Wild West component that I wasn't aware of. Something about Christmas Day, every man, woman, and child in a remote mining town just completely disappeared, and now we have a journalist and her historian father that are setting out to explore this long abandoned town and learn what happened. I'm here for it. It sounds like it's going to be really, really good. I love Blake Crouch's writing, so I'm confident that he can do something really cool. And this is different than like Recursion, Dark Matter, Upgrade, where we have like the sciencey aspects to it. This one sounds a lot more like small town horror, so I'm excited to read this, and it might check off a box for our fantasy bingo for me as well. TBR Bluff, roll number 4. So that got us 2 5s, a 2, a 4, and a 1. I think we've already talked about the 2 5s, which is no longer on the board, so we're going to keep those and roll again. Okay, so that got us 3 5s and 2 3s. The 5s and the 3s are not on the board anymore, but we do have 3 5s, which again, not helpful. We also have 2 3s being reverse page count. Decisions. I think I'm going to be really, really chaotic and reroll. What am I going to reroll? There's less 5s, so I think I'm going to reroll the 5s and keep the 3s because there's more 3s. So that got us 2 3s and 2 1s, which is not on the board. I hate myself. Okay, so we could still do, though, the 2 3s, which is reverse page count, so I'm going to go with that for this one. So apparently TBR Bluff was loving the 3s this month, and next up we got 2 3s, which was a reverse page count. So for this one, I have to find the page count of the previous book that I told you guys about, and then see what the reverse of that page count is. So let's see how many pages Abandon has. It's got a, like, short story in the back, so we're not going to count that. It looks like it is 423 pages, which means I need to find a book that is 324 pages long. Okay, give me just a second. Okay, I finally found one, and we got as close as we possibly could get, which is How to Film a Horror Movie and Survive, I believe is the title, by Craig DeLuey. This is an arc that I have that comes out in mid-June, so I feel like it's perfect. It's horror, it's haunted, and I don't know, we're just going with that vibe this month. I don't know a ton about this other than it is an 80s director that is trying to film the most scary horror movie, and he's going to do it on an old camera. The camera might just be demonic. I don't really need to know any more than that. It sounds incredible. Like I said, it's 320 pages and it comes out in June, so I feel like it is absolutely perfect for this prompt. Okay, and then what should be our final roll, because we still have free space on the board, TBR Bluff, roll number 5. Ugh, this one laid sideways, so we're just gonna re-roll it. Okay, that got me absolutely nothing, so we're just gonna re-roll the whole hand. Also nothing. Oh my gosh. What is it with me and the threes? That one is 2 3s and 2 5s, which we've already established is not on the board, which means I have to use my free space, which is a miracle that we haven't had to use before now, honestly. Okay, so the board is done. The board is cleared. The next time you see it, it will be pretty and fresh and ready to go for June. And lastly, we had to use the free space. I'm so glad I saved that free space, or we were going to be in some serious trouble come the end of this TBR, because it was so close to being a bad thing. But we made it. We had the free space available. We got to clear the board. Everything is good. And this one gave me an author that I've never read from before. I have the million choices for that one, but I think I'm going to be going with another like kind of horror, young adult horror, but something that I've been told fits the vibes, and that is The Invocations by Catherine Sutherland. I've heard nothing but good things about this author, and when I saw this at the bookstore, it was a naked hardcover. It had beautiful like rose gold edges. I was like, you need to come home with me. You need to come home with me. So it came home with me. This one is about 3 girls and 1 supernatural killer on the loose. Say no more. Sounds incredible. I am excited to give this author a try and to see if I also vibe with vibes. Okay guys, so my official TBR for the month is this plus How to Shoot a Horror Movie and Survive. So I feel like that's a pretty good stack of books, but I also want to focus on a lot of sequels this month. So some of my like high priority sequels are going to be The Providence of Fire by Brian Stavley. This does not fit the like haunted carnival theme at all, but it doesn't matter. This is the sequel to Emperor's Blades. Then we also have The Book That Broke the World by Mark Lawrence. This is the sequel to The Book That Wouldn't Burn, which is another epic fantasy book that probably doesn't fit the vibes, but who cares? Then we have The Hemlock Queen by Hannah Whitten, and this is the sequel to Foxglove King. I was in the minority, I think, that really enjoyed the first book, and so I'm excited to continue. There's like death magic in here, so kind of fits the vibes. I would also love to continue on with the Lady of Shadows series. I'm up to Lady of Embers, which is book 4. I only have 2 books left, so I really want to get this series finished. 2 other books that I would love to at least consider is The Vows and Ruins by Helen Shure. This is the sequel to Blood and Steel. And A Kingdom This Cursed and Lovely by Stasia Stark, which is the sequel to A Court This Cruel and Lovely. These titles always get me every single time. So those are the sequels that are kind of like on my priority radar. There's not a lot of horror sequels. I guess I could probably get to The Hollow Dead by Darcy Coates. That's definitely one that's on my radar. But other than that, I don't have a lot of high priorities. The One Couple, the new Ruth Ware, I would love to get to that one, so we'll see if I manage to get to it. But those are just kind of my tentative TBR. We did not get a chance, though, to talk about my book club books. One of them definitely fits in the sequel vibe, and that is the Backlist Book Club hosted by Cassidy. This month, we are going to be doing the live show for The Girl in the Moon by Mark Lawrence. This is the 3rd and final book of the Book of the Ice series, and I'm excited to finish this series off. That will kind of complete this whole arc of this and Book of the Ancestor, and I can't wait to see how it all wraps up. Book of the Ice is following Yaz. She is one of the Ice Tribers, and every year, I believe someone comes to see if any of their people are deformed. If they are, they kick them into the pit of the missing. One day her brother is kicked in and she jumps in after him, and there was this whole world down there that she never knew existed. I really enjoyed book 1. Book 2 fell a little off for me, so I'm excited to finish out the series and see what I end up thinking. And then last but not least is our Indie Archive Book Club pick, which is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I'm hoping to have already read this by the time May rolls around, but if not, this will definitely be on my May TBR. I've heard this is slow burn goodiness, and I cannot wait to read it. And if I haven't finished Dark Age by Pierce Brown, that's also on the list, but goodness, I need to be finishing these books that are on my April TBR before rolling them over into May. But Dark Age is my Patreon read-along. We are finishing out the Red Rising series, and I am behind, so I definitely need to read that as well. Okay guys, thank you so very much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that you have gone and checked out both Lexi and Jordan. I will link their channels down in the description box, as well as all of the information to escape the readathon, which you absolutely have to go check out. You were here, you're obligated. Just go click that down below. If you are just interested in TBR Bluff and you want to see more, I will link that up here. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, leave me some kind of game emoji down in the comments below. As always, links to my Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads are down in the description box as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!